What's going on, everybody? It's GameUnboxingReviews here, and welcome back to another LEGO Marvel Superheroes 2 news update. So in today's video, we're going to be talking about everything that was revealed at San Diego Comic-Con. But the great thing about all of this is, while the news is all amazing stuff and very exciting content that's going to be in the game, it's not everything, because on Saturday, we're going to be getting 10 new character reveals, plus a trailer, and who knows, maybe even lots more. So there is lots to look forward to when it comes to LEGO Marvel Superheroes 2, and what we've got to talk about in this video is also very, very exciting. So without further ado, let's get to it. Alright, so first up, let's talk about the Chronopolis HUB World. Now, obviously, we already know so much about the Chronopolis HUB World, but I feel like there's a few things they haven't told us yet. For instance, there's actually a lot of really cool references to comics, like Secret Wars and Kang Dynasty, and I think a lot of people who are huge Marvel comic book fans are going to get these references, but I'm not quite sure what they mean by these references. I mean, does that mean that certain characters from those comics are going to be in the game? Most likely. I mean, they're picking from so many different parts of the Marvel Universe. Pretty much, you know, tons of characters are going to be in this game. It's going to be a massive roster by the time the game comes out, but it also might mean that the quests might be inspired by the comics or based on the comics. I mean, we'll just have to wait and see. This is just pure speculation right now, but I'm excited to see what references there are in the actual open world. Now, another place in the open world that everyone's very excited about is, of course, Sakaar. Now, I've seen some comments online, people who are a bit confused. Is this the Sakaar from the comic book and the animated movie, or is this the Sakaar from Thor Ragnarok, the upcoming Marvel Cinematic Universe movie? Well, basically, Thor and Hulk are based on their Thor Ragnarok designs, but apparently everything else is actually based on the Planet Hulk comic book, which is, of course, a storyline that Thor Ragnarok is actually taking inspiration from. So you'll be running around as the Thor Ragnarok, Hulk and Thor, and maybe even Loki and the Grandmaster and Valkyrie and things like that, but the actual map itself is based on the comic books, which is pretty cool. Next up, we're going to be talking about gameplay mechanics. Now, obviously, there are a lot of mechanics from the first game that are returning in LEGO Marvel Superheroes 2, but now, of course, are much more improved. But as well as that, there are new gameplay mechanics, such as Captain America, for instance, can now solve puzzles by throwing his shield to hit certain places. I'm pretty sure they had something like that in the previous games anyway, but it sounds like it might be something a little different. And Thor now can actually use electricity in a different way. Again, he could kind of charge things already in LEGO Marvel's Avengers, but it still sounds a little different. I like that they're using these characters they've already used before and improving them and adding to them, adding things that they couldn't do in the previous two games. But the best ability that I found out is actually Doctor Strange. Now, we already knew that he could actually control time in the game, but now we have a detailed description of what that involves. So basically, let's say for example you have a puzzle in the game with a car. If you go back in time, the car will be fine, but if you move forward into the future, it will actually turn rusty. It'll all be completely rusty, which is really cool. I like that little attention to detail. I don't think you'll be able to do that in the open world, but that would be pretty cool if you could actually alter the time, things like that. But I guess that's what Chronopolis is for, you know, with all the different timelines put together in one awesome map. But nonetheless, being able to control time as Doctor Strange is extremely cool, and I think is going to hype up a lot of fans of the Doctor Strange movie. So here's something that we didn't actually know. We actually have new enemy types. So for example, we now have enemies with armor made of silver Lego, and they can only be defeated by certain characters. I would say that's likely someone like Iron Man, who can actually shoot missiles to blow up the silver Lego, but that is still very cool. There are also ninjas that are fast and can disappear, and you'll need to work out where their attacks are coming from. There are even enemies who can poison you, burn you with flamethrowers, attack with electricity, and what's probably the coolest and weirdest enemy type is symbiote henchmen. Now, we had symbiote henchmen in the previous LEGO Marvel Superheroes, but this is where it gets very cool, because when the henchmen are actually defeated, their symbiotes actually jump off their body and jump onto your character to attack you, which is absolutely awesome. Love that little attention to detail. It'd be really, really cool if you could actually let the symbiote take over and consume you, and maybe you could still play with the symbiote. That would be pretty cool, but I doubt that's something it does. It's probably just to attack you. But if you're excited about symbiotes being in the game, stay tuned, because we've got something very exciting to talk about a little later on in the video. Next up, I have some new details on the character creator. Now, in my previous video, we talked about how there will obviously be weapons and powers in the character creator, and one of the weapons that we found out we could use was actually a pistol. Now we know something much cooler, Mjolnir. So you could basically make your own character that is based on Thor, which is pretty cool. I believe Mjolnir, you know, Thor's hammer, was in LEGO Marvel Superheroes and LEGO Marvel's Avengers anyway, but it's great to see it make a return this time around. And I've seen some people that are a bit confused online about the color swapping in the game, you know, how you can change the color of hats and things. Does that mean you can change the color of an Iron Man helmet and basically make your own Iron Man helmet? Well, basically, let's say for example you have the Iron Man helmet, and that is a piece which features more than one color. So if it's something like a hat and it's just for example red, then you can probably change it to another color like blue. So if it has more than one color, chances are you probably can't change the color of it in the game. But there are currently 19 helmets and hats in the game that you can change the color of so far, and who knows, there might even be more by the time the game comes out. We'll just have to wait and see. Now, before we move on to the extremely exciting news, we have to talk about bonus missions. So, in the first game, they basically involved you just solving puzzles and fighting bad guys. But this time, however, the bonus missions actually act as a story that you have to discover. Now, it's been teased that you may even need to help some villains in these stories. This sounds really exciting because while I did enjoy the LEGO Marvel Superheroes bonus missions, I think the LEGO Marvel's Avengers DLC ones were actually put together better because they really did feel like mini missions. And the fact that they're continuing that into LEGO Marvel Superheroes 2 is really cool, and it's really exciting that we might actually get to play as the villains, because that was one of my favorite things about the original LEGO Batman game. Getting to play as the villains in the part of the story was really, really cool. So if there's something like that, then that is awesome. Alright, so now on to the really exciting news that's come out of San Diego Comic-Con 2017. So, first up, let's talk about Howard the Duck. Yes, that's right, Howard the Duck is finally confirmed to be a playable character. What I love is it looks to be based on the Marvel Cinematic Universe version of the character. Of course, in the movie, he was voiced by Seth Green, but in the game, he's actually going to be voiced by the legendary Greg Miller, which is very, very exciting. But get this, it's not just Howard the Duck. Oh no, Howard actually has a secret identity in the game called the Iron Duck. So it's basically Howard the Duck as Iron Man, which I think is really, really cool. And Arthur Parsons has said that Howard surprisingly has a huge role in the game. So I guess that means that we'll be playing as him in the actual story, which should be very, very interesting. I'm excited to see why he is such a key role in the story. But like I said, we'll just have to wait and see. And last but most certainly not least, the final thing we need to talk about is, of course, Carnom. Now, you're probably thinking right now, what the heck is a Carnom? Well, we'll be talking about that in a second, but basically, partway through the story, you'll be chasing down Green Goblin 2099 as Spider-Gwen, Spider-Man 2099, and Classic Spider-Man. So, two character reveals there. First up, Classic Spider-Man. Obviously, you know, that was kind of a given thing, but there were some people that were worried he wouldn't be in the game because of all the movie content, you know, the Homecoming MCU content being in the game. But you'll be happy to know that not only do we have Homecoming content, but also classic Spidey content as well, which is really cool and great for the original LEGO Marvel Superheroes 1 fans. But more exciting is Green Goblin 2099. I love the fact that this version of the character is in the game because he's got an awesome design, and it also opens the door for other 2099 Marvel characters and 2099 Spider-Man villains. I mean, I would personally love to see Kron Stone, because I think it'd be really cool if he could transform into Venom 2099, and maybe he could have a secondary transformation where he turns into Scorpion 2099. Now that would be really cool, but not as cool as this next thing. This is insane. I completely did not expect this. So basically, partway through the story, you'll be chasing down Green Goblin 2099 as Spider-Gwen, Spider-Man 2099, and Classic Spider-Man. And as you enter Alchemax, Venom and Carnage will be fused together as part of an experiment. So in the story, they fuse together and become Carnom, and I guess you're going to be taking them on in a boss battle or something, but that sounds like an incredible mission. I can't wait to see how that actually looks, and we'll be talking about Carnom's design in a second. Of course, you can see the screenshot right here, which looks incredible. You've got, you know, there's a Daily Bugle sign in the background. I believe that's probably the 2099 side of Chronopolis, but it might also be a level, so I'm not 100% sure, but still, he has a really, really cool design. Now, I must stress that this isn't an ability in the game. Carnage and Venom can't actually combine. They are two separate characters as well as Carnom, so you can play as Carnage, Venom, and Carnom, but they don't combine to become Carnom. But gameplay was shown of Carnom throwing a school bus and wrecking havoc across the city. They showcased that at the San Diego Comic-Con panel, and Arthur Parsons has also just recently confirmed that Carnom can web swing, which is amazing. I was not expecting that. Being able to web swing as big figures is something I wanted for such a long time. And of course, what does this mean? Does this mean that maybe if Venom can actually, you know, transform into a big figure again, he can now web swing? That would be so cool. And going back to his design for a second, I mean, you can see right here, he has the big teeth, he has the tongue. Hopefully that's a tease as to what Venom looks like in this game, because while I was happy to see big figure Venom in the previous LEGO Marvel Superheroes, he didn't look as good as he could have. And here, if that's the mouth and the tongue and everything they're using, he's going to look absolutely perfect. Can't wait to see what he looks like in this game. And of course, with characters that can now web swing, big figures, hopefully that means we might see other big figures that can web swing. Personally, I'd love to see Man-Spider. Now that would be cool. But for now, Carnom is more than enough because he looks incredible. Alright guys, that's pretty much it for this video. Now, like I said, that isn't all the news. Obviously, on Saturday, we're going to be getting a brand new trailer, plus 10 character reveals. That is a lot of characters, so definitely stay tuned for that next news update, because it's going to be a big one. Anyway, guys, I want to thank you very much for watching. Stay tuned for lots more videos real soon, and as always, please remember to like, comment, and subscribe.